Hello and welcome to Inside Modular, the podcast of commercial modular construction brought to you by the Modular Building Institute. Welcome everyone, my name is John McMullen. I'm the marketing director here at MBI. Today I'm talking with Vikas Murali, CEO at Offsight. Vikas is here to discuss Offsight's project management software that has been specifically designed for the offsite construction industry. Vikas, thanks for being here.
Hi, John. Thank you for having me.
So tell me about yourself, Vikas. What's your background and what led you into software development?
So me, myself, I'm a technical person. I'm actually an engineer by training. So I have a degree in systems engineering. I did CS. I also did math, minor in math. So I have a pretty technical background. What led me to software development actually is I started off as a product manager in some bigger enterprise companies where I really managed the launch of internal applications. So these are pretty big applications across different teams. You had your developers, your QA, your product people, et cetera. And that was my foray into managing enterprise software. But from a personal perspective, I always wanted to start my own business and do my own thing. So though I worked within these bigger companies, my whole take around it was that I always had an itch to do my own thing. And ultimately that led me in the direction of starting a consultancy that was focused around enterprise software and then later developing Offsite. So that's been my background today.
Very good. Well, I applaud you, sir. I tapped out at pre-algebra, so very good for you. I always am impressed with people who can continue past that. Tell me about your interest in project management. Where did that come from? And was there a point along the way that you said, aha, I can do project management and software together?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think our interest in kind of what we offer in Offsite evolved from our background. I mean myself and my co-founder Andrew, both of whom actually went to school together. We both went to UPenn together and actually did engineering together and know each other from our early days there. But that whole interest kind of formed when we launched our consultancy, and that really had a focus on helping manufacturers develop enterprise software in-house, and leveraging our skill set. One of the companies we worked with there was company Schneider Electric, maybe a well-recognized brand, but provides all sorts of different electrical equipment. The team that we worked with provided modular switchgears for data center construction and other commercial construction projects. So essentially working with that team at Square Zero, building a solution for them that let them track these products as they go through assembly, provide quality conformance, reporting. We realized the pains that a lot of folks in the entire prefab offsite world go through when it comes to factory management, factory operations management, and then project management, communicating status with your customers and others and stakeholders. So that journey kind of brought us to building what would be the MVP or version 1.0 of Offsite. And it also opened our eyes into the possibility of what this business could become if we were to kind of make it into a product and get it out there in front of a larger customer base. And that's really where the genesis for Offsite started and where our whole interest around the industry began. And then coming from that perspective of basically developing the software, working very closely with all types of people at the factory level with all different hats, supervisors, team leads, project managers, manufacturing engineers, operations managers. We got a holistic picture of really what it takes to not only build this software, improve on it, consistently develop on it, but then also implement it. Implementing it is another crucial aspect of what we learned from working with them. So we took all those learnings and then we started Offsite, and now we have a fully productized business and a solid list of customers and many more robust customers, and that's kind of been our journey.
Very good, very good. Obviously, you're a firm believer in the ability of software to help manage processes, and you found your way to the offsite construction industry. Why do you think project management from a software point of view is so important for modular and offsite construction?
For sure, yeah. I think what we saw definitely working with Schneider, and then even what we see now, still holds true. Where when you look at offsite and you look at prefab and modular as an industry, it's unique in that it's not really pure manufacturing in the sense that you're not like, you haven't been around for a long time. You aren't making a widget over and over and over again, exact same thing yet. And nor is it on the other side of things, where it's pure customized construction, job site construction, where everything is unique and everything is specific. So you exist in a unique world where we call it almost project manufacturing, the combination of both. You're designing for each project. Things are different from project to project. Manufacturing workflows are different from project to project. They can be consistent on the design changes. They can involve changes and in many cases and many different parts of your process. And the traditional software that's built around construction only, project management software built around construction only, doesn't seem to work, obviously, at the factory level where you have that type of production workflow, nor does the opposite, where you have a software truly built around the automotive industry, let's say, now being forced into this type of process. So what you really need is a software that can adapt as often as you need to adapt from project to project, or even if you launch a new factory and your process is changing along the way, right? Your physical production lines are changing, your manufacturing workflow is changing. You need to be able to completely rebuild that flow within the software, relaunch it. And Offsight does just that. It's very easy to basically update your manufacturing workflow from project to project, even in the same project as many times as you need. We get that's the unique thing about the offsite and prefab industry. And I think, even as companies start to grow in this industry, the growth industry, their processes are going to change and there's going to be new learnings. And that's really what Offsite's all about, capturing that change and that variability. And it's very easy for us to rebuild your workflow just on the fly. That's all part of our ethos and our process. So
very cool. So for those who have not started incorporating software solutions like Offsite, what can you tell me about how the software actually works? Obviously, as you described, it's very adaptable. But what data is actually being created, how do manufacturers leverage that data?
That's a good question. So I think the most basic thing I would say, and this is from obviously our learnings from the very beginning when we worked in the consulting business and even when we started Offsite, the pitch behind the modular offsite construction industry is really that you can do probably several things, but maybe three main things very well. You can basically deliver products quicker and faster. So the project schedules get shortened. You can do them cost effectively, so at a cheaper and more efficient cost than traditional job site construction. And the third thing is quality excellence, right? I can build these products in a much better way than an open job site where things are all over the place, mistakes happen, materials get wasted and spoiled, lots of rework is required. So I can build them in a controlled setting in a much more efficient way and reduce all those quality issues and build a better product. So that's the sales pitch for offsite modular construction. But just moving work from a job site into a factory doesn't ensure those things are going to happen, right? It just doesn't mean it's guaranteed. You could have a bad process on a job site and start off with an equally worse process in the factory, and all those problems are going to creep up again. So how do you ensure to your owners and to your customers and other stakeholders that you are really adhering to that, and that is really something that you can deliver on? Well, the best way to do it is to marry technology with your process. So like when you start a new factory, or even when you're already in prefab and production, if you aren't really using a tool like Offsite to manage your process, you're basically selling yourself short, because all those things that you're trying to sell to your customers, who knows whether you're truly delivering on them, and who knows whether you're actually managing them in a way where you can deliver on that return, deliver on that ROI. What Offsite lets you do is basically that, right? We build your software, build your workflow, we let you track your production, make sure your delivery's on track. We let you pull immediate reports so you know where things are tracking and where they're falling behind. We let you provide those update reports to other stakeholders in the business so people are always on track. We let you track production KPIs like overall project progress and production progress. And we also let you do quality. A huge element of process is definitely quality excellence, right? Making sure that all the issues and conformance problems that you find are resolved in the factory. And not only do you identify them due to the visual inspection through Offsite, you take the photos in Offsite, but we even have an internal solution or internal task management element where you can resolve them. You can say, here's the issues I found, and I'm confirming I've sold all of them before I ship. So, all the rework, all the repair, everything was done in the factory, and we're good to go. There's no issues. So, that's all part of making sure that we adhere to those three. And I think the final element, of course, is managing your materials and labor which are two key variable elements in ensuring your product is built in a cost-efficient manner. If those, obviously, those are the two key most aspects in most projects. If those get out of hand, then it's very likely that your cost differential or the cost savings you may see from the traditional construction or job site project may not be that great. But if you're able to control those and accurately track your material consumption, accurately track your labor consumption in real time, which you can do through Offsite, you have a much more accurate picture of that. And that's basically the value add of Offsite. So I tell many customers, and also definitely many people who are interested in Offsite, that just when you start a factory, if you start a factory without the tools to basically manage that process, it's unlikely you can really deliver on those three major value adds of Offsite construction.
That makes sense. You mentioned this a couple of times, but I wanted to dive into the reporting features of Offsite, the analytics. I deal with analytics a lot from a marketing end. I'm looking at campaign KPIs for email and social media and our website. Tell me about the reporting capabilities for Offsite and how managers and decision makers can really leverage those reports to drive better results.
For sure, yeah. So I would say reporting is definitely a huge element to the solution, and I think the reasons it is because, as I mentioned, unlike traditional manufacturing, where you may not have as many stakeholders, most of the work just happens within the factory operations realm, and then you sell a product to consumers, and it's out the door. In this case, you have many stakeholders, you have many parties that need to collaborate, need to be on the same page, need to be aware of how things are progressing, maybe install teams in the job site that need to know when things are going to arrive or whether there are quality defects, sign-offs, right? So before something ships, this was done correctly, here's visual verification. Okay, we're both on the same page there. Updates, I need to receive some payment from my owners, and I can only do so when certain projects or certain products have passed a certain stage. So I need to live track that and then confirm, hey, I've received everything and they've passed the stage, now it's time to receive payment, right? So there's all types of situations where collaboration is crucial in the prefab offsite modular industry, and this is what we see our longer customer base. So what Offsite has done really well is essentially turned all aspects of those tracking, production, quality reporting, material consumption, labor, into active reports that can be delivered as like a PDF, as like a table, like an Excel format. They can be customized directly to what you need to get from the system. So it could be, these are the specific products for this project, and here's exactly where they are. 20% complete at this stage, 40% complete at this stage, 80% complete at this stage. And maybe you need that to get billing from your customers to prove that, hey, I have X number of products at this stage, and now it's time to get my payment. So in that sense, the value add of reporting is that it provides that level of collaboration between the stakeholders that is necessary to really work on these projects. And another example of this is even with third-party inspectors and quality providers and so forth. Almost every factory you'll have to work with a third-party inspector on residential multifamily type projects where you have to go through code conformance, keep documentation for 5 years. You have to do factory audits. There's a lot of back and forth. And if you were doing this manually, which many people are today, or on spreadsheet or Google Doc or whatever, maybe some combination thereof, there's a lot of room for things to get missed, for documentation to get lost, for it to be difficult to collect all the documentation over all the different products. Now imagine if you could do all that with a single click. Like with one single click, I could say, here's all the modules for this project, here's their status, here's all the conformance per every checklist that you mandated, per every station you mandated, in one single click, and it's exported digitally. That's basically what Offsite does. So in that way, that reporting capability as well is very important for quality and for inspectors. Another example of how you can collaborate with stakeholders on these projects.
What's the process for manufacturers who are interested in incorporating these types of software solutions, whether it be Offsite or something else? What is there a process they need to go through to get started?
So to get started, it's very simple. You simply reach out to us on our website and say, hey, I'm interested in demoing and checking out Offsite in action. And what we've done is, our team would immediately connect with you, and we provide a live demo of the product. And we can even make it specific to your process. So whether you make, and of course it's the commercial modular folks, but whether you make commercial modules or you make panels or bath pods or kitchen pods, all types of different products, we probably have a workflow already built to kind of cater to your process and show you what it would be like. And it's an example from an example that we've built out over time. So in that case, it kind of brings your process to life. You can see how it would work within Offsite. And then what we do is we show you all elements of functionality that can address those different key points: production, quality, materials, labor, and then also how they may play into what you're doing today. So like if you're doing certain things manually, if you're relying on spreadsheets, you have a hodgepodge of solutions all over the place. We get an understanding of that, and then we then say, okay, great, we've now done with the product, you understand its value, we understand what we're doing today, and now we work you through a very simple go live or implementation plan, which is usually 4 weeks or less, where we can basically take some documents from you, build out your workflow within Offsite, and get you fully built in with operators, quality inspectors, managers, all types of users on our platform. We have an unlimited user model, so we don't by any means limit whom you can add to the product. We understand that more stakeholders and more people with different hats are needed for you to really drive value from our product. And then what we do is during that 4-week period, our solutions engineering team, many of whom have worked at modular manufacturers in the past and in prefab players in the past, would then be the ones setting up your workflow, training your team, and launching. And that's all comes together in one simple package. So that's really how we take a customer live, and we do so in a very systematic manner, just to make sure that, like, everybody is driving value, everybody is being trained correctly, and at the end of the day, like, we judge our success based on the fact that you can engage, where you're seeing engagement with the product, right? You're using the product, operators are using it from the floor, managers are getting reports, the things that you wanted as outputs are being delivered. That's basically what we're looking to achieve.
So Offsite has been around for a little while now, and as you've worked with clients, as you've onboarded people, as you've created these workflows that you've mentioned earlier, what have you learned over the past few years as Offsite has been adopted more and more and more? Has the product evolved because of that, and if so, how?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So what we've learned is that is essentially a couple of things. I would say one, I touched upon it before, just the need for engagement. At the end of the day, a solution is only as good as people using it, right? So if people are not using it, it's not going to drive value. You're not going to see the ability to basically sell those points of, faster delivery, which offers construction faster delivery, better quality excellence, more cost efficiency. If you can't actually use the solution, you're not going to see that. So obviously, being able to get engagement from your team, making sure operators are trained, making sure people can use the software is crucial. And on the mobile side of things, if you look at our mobile app or tablet app or iPad app or iPhone app, it's very intuitive, very easy to use, very user friendly. That's one of the key elements. Like engagement is necessary for you to actually see value. So that's something we've learned. We build a process around driving engagement and training. There's untold number of softwares out there that promise everything, but then are never used, and so nobody actually gets the value from them. So that's very important to us. So that's actually been one major learning. And I think another important learning is definitely, you touched upon it, the need to have a pretty robust solution that encompasses a variety of the different elements of factory operations and the factory operations stack. Because the reality is there's many different stakeholders and players within the factory operations and overall, offsite project domain that can benefit from a solution and need to interact with the solution. And I mentioned some of them, production, quality, materials handling, admins, finance, back office, customer success, customer service. Like, there's many different stakeholders that need to interact with Offsite, can really drive value in their day-to-day by being able to interact with Offsite. And the way they interact with Offsite and the functionality they need from the software may be slightly different based on what they do and what hat they wear, and they may need different tools. So we're always building out functionality for the product. It's never done. So, even though we have 4 modules today, we're building 2 more in the works to launch this year. Those will help with pre-production, before you actually begin the production process. going through design, and then even post-production, in being able to service the products after they're installed and so forth, collaborate with install teams, etc. So from our perspective, the work's not done. The product's always going to keep evolving. It's going to keep getting better. It's going to keep fitting the needs of the prefab modular and offsite industry better as we get more and more customers. And I think the end solution there is just to build a fully encompassing product that can really provide value to the customer base.
So maybe my last question for you, Vikas, thinking outside of Offsite, what role do you see software playing in the offsite construction process as the industry evolves? Because clearly we're moving in more and more to things like automation. We're moving into integrated electronics, networking, all these kind of things are being built into mods now. Where does software fit in, and where do you see that going in the next 3 to 5 years?
That's a good question. So I would say when I think of Offsite as a whole, though, I think of Offsite as a technology company first and foremost. So definitely, like, what we do is we offer tools. We offer tools to basically help you manage your offsite projects and offsite factory operations, right? So as the operations itself starts to evolve, and as the industry is a growth industry, so things are changing, as I mentioned, right? So as new things start to happen and new processes start to evolve, we'll include them. We'll make them part of what offsite is. And as offsite itself as a business starts to mature, we may find there are tools and products that we need to basically work with or interface with to really provide full value to our customer base. And we're not shy of doing that. We always get that from our customers. Oh, can you work with XYZ, or can you integrate with this or that? And I think when it really comes down to it, it really, for us as a business, if we can see that value where, yes, if we could do this, this would absolutely help this customer improve their operations, improve their business, provide visibility that's non-existent, and then make it available, absolutely we would do it. And I think that's really our end game here. Offsite is going to be, in our vision, a technology company for the offsite construction industry, and a place where people can go to essentially get those tools. And today we see that as being this central platform that allows you to manage these projects, but over time that can evolve where many other elements become part of the solution too, and that's kind of where we're really heading. So
very good. So what's next for Offsite in the near term?
So I think in the near term, I would say our goal is really to, in order to further our vision, is really to be at the center of the community. We don't just want to provide a solution, provide software, and say, hey, we're done. We're selling this thing to you and buy. You're just like any other company. At the end of the day, we also want you to really view us as being in the corner of your business, offsite, modular, prefab business, right? We want you to succeed. So what that truly means is we like to work with people in the community to understand their pains. We have a very elaborate blog and content base that we'd like to push out information from people in the community and hear their stories and hear what works and doesn't work, and share that to other people in the industry as well, so they can take their best learnings and they can improve and they can avoid pitfalls and so forth. So Offsite's goal in the near term is really to build itself as a go-to source, not just for the tools, but also for learnings in the community, and also for sharing information in the community, and maybe even sponsoring events and networking events where people can share ideas and move the industry forward as a whole. So that's basically what we're hoping to achieve in the short term.
Thank you for your time today, Vikas. I really appreciate it. Speaking of events, I think you guys are due to be in Orlando for the 2024 World of Modular in a couple of months. Is that right?
That's correct. Yep.
Excellent. Well, I hope to see you there. You guys, do you have a booth?
I believe we will. I believe we'll have a booth, and for sure we'll definitely have a presence. I think we did definitely last year, and our goal is to definitely be out there and showcase Offsite this year too.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see you there. Hopefully we run into each other. As I said, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
My name is John McMullen, and this has been another episode of Inside Modular, the podcast of commercial modular construction. Until next time.